and welcome to the Good and Faithful podcast. I am your host, Jessica Clark, and today I am welcomed with a special guest. Everyone, please welcome Cora. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm so excited to be able to chat with you today and just learn a lot from you and learn from your experiences and wisdom and advice that you have. So thank you
Thank you
for
for
hopping
having me.
on. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for those of y'all who don't know Cora, I know we have like a few listeners from Run with Christ, but for those of y'all who haven't met Cora, she is so amazing. She is a girl boss. She literally has her own business, and I'm just so excited to learn more about that. And she also has a lot of fun hobbies as well. So yeah, Cora, I don't know if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and just share about some of the things that you like and what's going on.
Sure. So I am 25 years old. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, which is how I met Jessica. And I am a business owner, like she said. So I have a digital social media agency. I live in Atlanta. I love fitness classes. I love girly hobbies. I love all the things.
Yes, yeah, all the good stuff. And I recently joined the gym that she goes to. So now we can do fitness classes together whenever our timing aligns, I guess.
It's the best, like having like an accountability person or even just knowing somebody else is going to be in class because I want to skip some days for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, like I will admit, I skipped today because I was just telling you, like, I'm tired.
I skipped yesterday, so you know
Okay.
what? It is what it is.
It's fine. You got to give yourself a rest day every now and then. Like, no, yesterday I took a class. I think it was like a hot Pilates class, and I left like so sore. Like, today I've like barely been able to walk, which is like,
Did you do
you feel
the ankle weight?
productive.
Did
What
you
did
have ankle weights on?
I did the entire
Okay.
time.
Yeah, that's like when the ankle weights are on the whole time, I'm dead.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, you get a good workout in, you feel productive. But yeah, no, the next day, like, always hits you. But it's okay. Corey and I, we met through Run with Christ, and it's been so sweet to see her most Saturdays and get to catch up with her. And I know she is such a girl boss. She does a lot of things, and it's so fun to just like see what you're up to, like on Instagram, and just hearing from you with everything that's going on. So it's so fun. So
I feel literally the same way about you because I'm always watching your stories. Like literally, Jessica is traveling. If y'all follow her on her socials, she's always traveling. She's always doing cool things. And even though I do social media, I like am not like on my personal, I don't care to be aesthetic. But Jessica and Sammy and like the people at RWC, like they're on it.
oh
And
my
I really
gosh.
admire that because it takes a lot of patience. And I think I just don't have the patience at the end of the day to do that with my own stuff.
Yeah, no, that's so fair. And I'm sure you manage like so many other social media platforms. So it's
Yeah,
like doing your own as well as a lot. But like for me, like I sound so cringe saying this, but like it's an art form to me. Like it's
it
so
is.
fun.
It is. It definitely is.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I guess with all the traveling and stuff too, it's like I love to document and I love to just, be aesthetic. And, it's fun to like post a little social media, like Instagram story or post every now and then. So
For sure.
yeah. So, but anyways, what are some other things you enjoy doing in your everyday life? I know you enjoy the fitness classes, but what other fun hobbies do you like to do?
So I've recently gotten to needlepoint.
Yeah.
Actually, I wish I had something to show you, but I was doing diamond art. And so diamond art was like my first like kind of hobby that I was doing. It's super inexpensive to get into and it takes months to finish. But after I would just throw it away. And I was
What?
like, because I didn't like it.
Oh my
I
gosh.
didn't like the designs. I was like, I'm not going to put this anywhere. So I'd literally throw it in the trash. And my roommate was doing needlepoint. And I was like, finally, after like a year, I got into it just because it's like longer lasting. Like it's literally like making something for somebody. So all of 2026, people better be ready for my needlepoint gifts. They're coming in hot. I actually
Yes.
just gave one to Heidi, who also goes to Run with Christ, my first needlepoint gift of 2026.
Wow. That's so sweet. Yeah, no, I love seeing all of that. Like I think that's like a recent thing that like people started doing. Like I had never heard of needlepoint to be honest. And then seeing you post about it, like and all of a sudden all these other girls are doing it too. I need to hop on that trend. It
Yeah,
looks so fun.
there's a strong community of needle pointers. I didn't know that it was so like it's very I thought it was really niche, but now it's like really popular and I don't know, there's a really good community with it. So I've enjoyed that a lot. And I'm trying to think of other hobbies. I did start this year. I got scrapbooking stuff for Christmas. I've scrapbooked in the past, but my goal is to scrapbook every month of the year. I've been trying to be like extra intentional about saving things. I went to like the varsity last weekend and I like saved the hat and I just did 10 cycle classes. So I like saved the note that they wrote me. So
Oh, yeah.
trying to like scrapbook 1 month of every, wait, no. Yeah, 1 month for the whole year.
I love that. And honestly, like, I'm so glad you said that because I have a box sitting behind me right now. It's like a big box and it has a ton of stuff from like college, post grad, like this, all these things that I've accumulated. And I keep telling myself, I'm like, I need to start a scrapbook. I've been wanting to
Yeah.
do one for like my Europe trip from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
One from college. I have not even started. I have
Yes.
everything. So,
Yes. Do that. I also am really big on vision boards. So I started making vision boards back in 2023, like a physical vision board. And it's like very ritualistic for me. The sad part is I only do it once a year, but I really love vision boards. If you're ever like when I'm on my client meetings, right now I'm in my living room, but when I'm on client meetings, I have my vision board on the back of my door. So they'll see it, I'll see it, and it's just a fun reminder.
oh my gosh, I love that. I've seen a lot of people do that like at the start of the year. And that's something I haven't really done. I really only just give myself like a word or a verse of the year, but honestly, a vision board would be like so good.
What's your word for this year?
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I think
You
I
need
said
to
it.
remember. See, that's why you need
Yeah.
to keep it top of mind.
You're right. You're right. And I said it at Run with Christ like a few weeks ago, and I think it was like devotion or like being fully devoted.
Wait, I think I do remember that actually. Wait, was it when you and Sammy were like standing on the like bench kind of thing?
Maybe. I
Maybe
think
not.
so. I cannot remember.
No,
It
that's
was
okay.
one of the days. I think it was like the day it was raining, but I cannot remember.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, but I had said it. Yeah, but I need to definitely be more intentional about making like a vision board for myself too, because there's a lot of goals that I have, but I just like keep them in my head. I don't really like write them out. I did last year, but I don't know what happened to this year. I just,
Yeah.
yeah,
So something I
something.
actually do, I do the CEO hour every week. And this is nothing I saw online. I just made this up. And then I do the best me 30. So the CEO hour is where I like basically check in with my entire business. Like I literally start like expenses, revenue, taxes, and then I'll do like tasks and client work and like lead outreach. And then on the flip side for the best me 30, it's like my own personal audit. So I do it for 30 minutes and I just like audit myself and like literally I like wrote all these questions and I like check in like what did I do well, what do I want to do better, like how am I achieving my goals, like that type of thing.
Wow. Yeah, wait, that's such a good idea. I need to look into that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I
So,
didn't, I just made it up, but it works really well.
oh, okay. Yeah, no, good to know. Okay. Well, I need to write down some notes. Thank you for all of that. I've already learned so much and we like haven't really technically started the episode yet. Like this is just an intro and
I know.
I'm
Okay, I'm
learning
gonna
so
probably
much.
do it.
I'm loving it already. There's just so much that I want to talk about today. So I feel like we should just go ahead and just dive right in. But I think before we get started, we should start off in a word of prayer. Dear God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you so much for all that you are and all that you've done for each and every one of us. I pray over this episode. I pray that you would give Cora and I the words to speak as we go throughout these topics and things we're going to share. Just thank you for Cora and the person that she is. Just thank you for her availability to just share on some topics and share about her experiences and her faith journey. I'm just so grateful to have people like her in my life and people that I can look up to, and also just people in our community who we're able to just do life together and encourage each other. So thank you so much for that. And for the person who's listening to this episode, I pray that they would listen to this and leave feeling encouraged and strengthened and inspired by Cora and her story and just all that you've done in her life. And just I pray that we would just continue to look up to you for the strength and joy and peace and all that we need throughout the days of our life. And I say all this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with today's episode. Cora, I know you mentioned that you love workout classes. I know that's something that we both kind of do, which is so fun. And I know there's a lot of like health benefits to those for sure. But what else do those workout classes provide for you just beyond the physical health?
So definitely mental health. I think that's like almost 60% of why I work out, which I know is like maybe it should be 50-50, but I really think that there's like good mental health benefits to it. And just like moving your body, it just feels really good.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And also, it just gives me something to look forward to throughout the day. Especially like with the workout classes, I like to schedule those like before work and or after work, just so like I can start my day off on the right foot, and then also like throughout the workday, like I can have something to look forward to. But I feel like I always feel so productive when I do like a workout like that. And it also just shows me like the importance of endurance and like making it through a class or making it through a workout. I feel like there's just a lot of benefits to that. So
I agree for sure.
uh, and then moving on, like to the topic of the needlepoint stuff, could you talk about like how you got into that? I know you mentioned like that it was kind of a recent thing you started, but I don't know if you want to talk more about your experience or even just like the community that that's provided you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my roommate started and she was like really into it. And we would sit, I was doing my diamond dart literally on this couch. I was doing diamond dart, she was doing needlepoint. And it took me a long time to come around to it. And then I finally did because not only did she do it, but one of my like coworkers was also doing it as well. And I just like saw like the cutest designs. Like I literally was like, there's nothing like this for diamond art. It was just like cute ice cream cones and like fun like things. And I was like, okay, I think I need to be a part of this.
Yeah, no, I love it. And just seeing like you and some of the other girls like post about it on social media, I'm like, oh, that's so cute and such a fun, like creative outlet. So,
It is. It definitely is. It is an expensive hobby.
really, I
Oh,
didn't
it's
know
so
that.
expensive compared to like diamond art. Like you can get into diamond art for like $5 and you're set for like 3 months.
Wow.
Needlepoint is definitely a commitment, but that's like what I find that the beauty of it, at least a little bit, is like they're timeless if you like, finish them and stuff like that. So I
Mm,
like the sentimental value.
yeah, I gotcha. Huh, I didn't know that, but that's super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a lot of fun activities outside of work, but you also own your own business like we talked about, and you have a very strong entrepreneurial mindset. So I just wanted to talk about where that all came from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually started a business in college. It was an online boutique, and I literally just woke up like junior year, and I was like, I can do this. I could sell clothes, and so I started doing it, and I self taught myself like everything: Shopify, inventory, customer service, like
Wow.
all of the things. And I did that for a few years. I launched it in 2021, and I'd say I stopped about 2023. I in that time period learned I don't like doing like inventory. I don't want to handle inventory. I don't want to package up things. I don't want to do customer service. I enjoy the marketing side of things. And so I have fallen into marketing and like e-commerce, and that's kind of where I'm at. And the driving force of it all has always been to be a mom. I want to be a mom and be present for my kids, but also make money. So I was the kid in after school. Both my parents had full time jobs. They were working 9 to 5. And so I was sitting in after school when I wasn't doing activities, and they were providing for me. And that's awesome. But I want to be at every single one of my kids' events. And so that's really the drive. I don't have any children or anything like that. But when I do, that's the dream job, is to be their mom and to be present.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I think it's so good to think ahead like that too. And I mean, if you're already like establishing this career path now, I mean, like it's only going to become like more successful as you continue to like build that. And then once you do become a mom, like you've already got it set for you.
Yeah,
So
for
I think
sure.
that's so good. Yeah, and definitely, I mean, I agree. I think my parents worked remote, like especially like during my childhood too, which was kind of nice. So then I was able to have that like present like family there. But I do also there were days where like they'd have to go into the office sometimes or like go travel. So like I do understand wanting to like try to be more present for your kids when you're older.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there's so much like flexibility now that, just wasn't a thing. So maybe, there's always different avenues, but I like building my own schedule for sure.
Yeah, no, that's so nice. So you're a big dreamer, big visionary then. What is something that you're dreaming of about building or starting even right now?
So I went on a trip to Spain last year for 2 weeks, and it completely changed my outlook on my business. So when I was on this trip to Spain, it really occurred to me, if I'm not doing the work, like I'm not physically posting and designing and communicating with my clients, the work's not getting done. So that just makes me tied to the business. So right now I just hired my second employee, and that's like where I'm going with like things is hiring employees. So I want to do the strategy and have them do the design work. And I really struggled with hiring employees because I don't ever want my business to waver and then them, not have a job and not have money and things like that. And so I feel like I've really been trying to like hone in on like how I can provide like, the best, trying to think of the word, like the best experience for an employee. And
Yeah.
so I've been really leaning into like the flexibility of that and just trying to provide that for the people who are working for me and, be a place where they can learn. If you've ever worked with me or just even have talked to me, I don't keep anything a secret. I truly believe in building bridges. So that's what I'm trying to build, I guess, is really just the business and as many employees as possible.
Wait, that's so awesome. And congrats on hiring your second
Thank
employee.
you.
That's such a big deal.
Thank you.
And I know there's a lot of like leadership that comes with that. Was that something that you've had to like learn over time or something you've learned as you've gone? Or like, what does that look like for you?
100%. So I've had a few interns in the past, and I'm extremely type A. But when I try and fit somebody who may be type B or just none of the above into a type A, workspace, it's not going to work. So
Mhm.
I have literally over the past year tried everything and really figured out a system that gives them flexibility. So I'm not checking in with you every day. We're not doing meetings. Like they have time flexibility because that's what I value. So I give that to them and let them create their own system, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I'm so like amazed by you. I cannot believe that you literally started first of all started like this online clothing company like at you said 20 years old or junior year, whatever that was.
Yeah, I guess I was 20. Yeah, I was 20.
Wow, that is impressive. So like going from that and then realizing what you truly did love about that and then being able to create your own marketing agency, I think is so incredible and just says a lot about you as a person too.
Also, I know this is a lengthy answer. I can't fail to mention that before starting the agency, I did take a job in Atlanta. Literally, I still live point 0.4 from the office and I got
Wow.
fired.
Oh
And
my
I love
gosh.
telling people this story. So I had moved into this apartment July 11th of 2024. And like August 5th of 2024, I was let go within 3 months of the role, and within 2 days I had my first client, and it wasn't something I sought after. I remember that Wednesday. Well, first of all, this workplace was a little bit unconventional, and I got fired on a walk. So we're walking around the building, and I was like, I could spend this time asking for advice on what's going to happen or why I got fired, and I just didn't. I was like, I just want life advice. Like, give me all the advice. And he said, you can be sad today, but you can't be sad tomorrow. And that's exactly what I did. And I texted everybody in my phone. I emailed everybody, LinkedIn. I didn't care if it was embarrassing. I was like, this is what happened. And literally, by the grace of God, my entire business was built and continues to be built. That's a huge testimony that I always like to tell people because, it's taboo and it's embarrassing to say that you got fired, but it's the biggest blessing that ever happened to me.
Wow. That's crazy. I feel like I remember you briefly mentioning it one time about how you got fired, but like I didn't really know like the specifics of that story, but that's crazy. And
Yeah.
also the fact that like you had moved up here for the job and like all of a sudden in 3 months you were let go. But it's just so crazy to hear how like the Lord provided for you in so many ways, like at an instant, because like a moment like that, for me, I would crumble or like that would be my first instinct is to like freak out, but you reached out to like all your people and then more than that like I feel like the Lord provided for you what you needed in that time and that was it's just so cool to hear that your business was formed after that. And I'm sure that just like has really impacted you in
It
so
really
many ways.
when I like struggle, I really go back to that same feeling of like, I didn't worry. I remember literally, again, sitting on this couch. My dad was like, I don't know, should you apply for unemployment? And I was like, no. I'm like, I don't need to worry. Like, I got
Wow.
this. And a lot of like, I feel like the answers that I'm going to talk about with my faith are like trusting him. And that moment of being fired is like a complete 100% trust in him. And I have to go back to that feeling a lot of times to like recenter my faith.
I feel like in those moments too, like those very pivotal moments of like, what are you supposed to do in a situation like that? I feel like it's so important to look to Jesus in those moments, or else like we will freak out, like we will like, go into a state of panic. But like it's so cool that you were able to like immediately like turn to Jesus and like you had like that peace in you and like he truly did provide for you. And that's so cool. And yeah, I would definitely like look back to moments like that in my life. If like something else in the future were to happen, it's like you knew that God was faithful to you in the past and like surely he's going to continue to be faithful in the future cuz I mean, he always provides.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I kind of want to switch gears. I know we already started talking a little bit about faith, but I do want to switch gears and talk more about your faith journey and things like that. So, I know you talked about like how like immediately in that moment that you just mentioned that you turned to Jesus and you had a lot of faith in him. Was this something that you've always had, like this faith in him, or when I guess in your life did you start to develop that faith, or can you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, how wordy do you want me to get? Because I could like sit and talk.
You can talk as long as you want, whatever you want to say.
Well, I definitely like I grew up in a private Christian school. Like I went from K3 through graduation. And so it was definitely prevalent. We had Bible class. I also grew up in the church. And so it was very prevalent for me when I went to college, and it wasn't routine to be in Bible class and to like have chapel and to like worship. It just fell out of my practice and my habits. And I remember it was August of 2022 when I graduated college in May of 2022, and I had moved home, and I was just like busy, busy, busy the whole summer. And I was trying to pursue the boutique full time. And I was doing that and working my summer job. And I had walked in from the door from a trip, and I literally felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. I was like, I am a failure. Like, I am living at home. I am a failure. Like, what am I doing? And I really think like that exact moment was when I had no choice but to turn to God. Like, I felt hopeless and unhappy and just really in the throes of post grad. And I felt like I had no choice but to turn to Him.
Wow. Oh my gosh. In moments like that, like, yeah, sometimes you're just brought to your knees and like sometimes that is like the only decision we have. So, yeah, no, that's good. Um, so I know you mentioned that you went to a small private Christian school growing up. I went to one in high school. I went to public school and then went to a private Christian school for high school. So like I saw both ends of like the spectrum when it comes to like, schooling growing up. But how did that Christian school environment shape your faith early on?
Yeah. I, I have like a story actually. So that same workplace that unconventional, we would have like walking meetings. So literally, you're just walking around the building.
Wow.
And so I saw a rainbow, and I had said to a coworker, I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's a rainbow! Like that's so special." And she's like, "Oh, like what's so special? Like, yeah, it's cool, it's pretty." And I was like, "No, like that's a promise from God." And it was in that moment that it clicked for me that those Bible verses that are like written on my heart that I had to memorize, the books of the Bible, the fruit of the Spirit, the promises, the everything, the stories, like that's such a privilege to have known growing up, because I knew that that was a promise from God, and that was something that I shared with her in that moment. And so I'm not even sure your question, but that moment just really like changed perspective for me, that I was just so lucky to have that environment and grateful.
I think it's nice to like look back and realize that you did have that foundation and that upbringing. I think it's such a blessing too. And especially like for me, I also kind of grew up in a Christian bubble as well. Like I mentioned that I went to public school up until high school, but I was still really involved in the church. Like we went on Sundays, we went on Wednesdays. Like I was very involved. There were even other days where I would show up and I felt that I was able to grow up with this like foundation of the word. Like I memorized the books of the Bible. I like memorized a lot of Bible verses, and early on, like I was able to already grasp an understanding of the word. It wasn't growing up when I like fully decided to give my life to Jesus, but even now, like looking back, I'm like, okay, well, I have like some of these Bible verses memorized because of my upbringing. Even like before I chose to like fully surrender my life to the Lord, there were a lot of verses that like kind of lingered in my head and things that I would think back on. So I think having that upbringing does provide a lot of blessings. And there's a lot of people who don't grow up with that. And I mean, I am grateful for like the Christian bubble, you know, but I know also you went to Georgia Southern, and that's not a private Christian school, not a private Christian college. It might
Yeah.
quite be the opposite, but I just want to hear from you like about that experience, because I kind of have a similar like story as well. Like I ended up at a like large public school as well for college. I'm just really curious to hear about your experience and
Yeah.
yeah, what you saw.
Well, faith aside, from like, I'll get into that, but I will say I did not know how to make friends. So I'm an only child. My mom always put me in extracurriculars, but I was in the same extracurriculars since I was like 10 and 11. My roommate right now is my childhood best friend from cheerleading. Like, I didn't have to make friends at school. I didn't have to make friends in extracurricular. And so when I stepped on Georgia Southern, I didn't know how to make a friend. Really did not know how to make a friend. Podcasts, I literally equate like some podcasts to being my first college friends because I would listen to them on the way to campus. And that's the exact opposite now. If you talk to me, you would probably never think that I didn't know how to make a friend. But that was my first impression. My second impression was just that it felt like home. But I wanted to have fun in college. And I'll be honest, that's exactly what I did. There were times, when I went to church, but I think it was a big lesson of, your habits are who you surround, everybody with. I was around people who were there to have a good time. I was there to have a good time. And so I'm grateful for the relationships that have changed through time. Like my best friend Ansley, she was my college roommate. She's the one who introduced me to the church that I go to now. So like our relationship changed, but so many relationships in college, their habits reflect you. So I feel like that's kind of the situation I was in, but I don't regret it. I had a great time, and it just adds to the story.
I totally relate as well. I do feel like in college, like you're opened up to so much and you see a lot and you're like, now I have this first glimpse of freedom, I guess. I mean, not like you didn't have freedom in high school, but it's like your first time like really living away from home. And at least for me, that was my mindset. And I was like, you know what? I'm here to have a good time as well. So like I do understand.
Georgia
Yeah.
Southern has a reputation, and I definitely partook a little bit.
Yeah, and yeah, it's so hard in college too because like that is just the culture, and I definitely did as well and did some things that I'm not proud of and had some experiences that, I don't like to look back on. But it was hard because in the moment like I did have fun, but all of that can only last you so long, and I felt like that lifestyle was just not sustainable. I still did well in school, but I do feel like when it came to like party culture and like having those 3-day benders on the weekends and things like that, it's just like not sustainable. And if anything, like I thought it would bring me like joy and like happiness, like you're living your college experience, but then it eventually caused me to feel so tired and drained and like exhausted. And I wondered why. And I don't know if that was your same experience, but for me, it was just like, I felt like it was something that just eventually brought me down to my knees. I was like, I'm tired of this life. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Somewhat had an experience last like winter where, I was still kind of doing some college like lifestyle things, and that it's so exhausting, and it really, ask yourself, I invite anybody listening, ask yourself, who are the 5 people right now who are closest to you? What are their habits? What are their top 3 habits? And if you don't like their habits, why are you hanging around them? And that's what I had to ask myself, this time a year ago. And so I know it's harder in college. I really do know it's harder. There's FOMO, there's all the things, there's peer pressure. But I think once you hit post grad, you really have to start taking control.
yeah, for sure. And that's exactly what happened to me too. I realized after college, it was immediately right after college, like right about the time when I started my first full-time job. I was like, okay, this life that I'm living right now is not God glorifying and it's not making me feel happy, like religious or not. Like it just made me feel like exhausted and tired. And eventually that was the point that like brought me down to my knees. And then also like I really had to evaluate like what you just said, like looking in my inner circle of friends, like who am I surrounding myself with the most? And are these people bringing me closer to God? And honestly, like it led me to pray a prayer of, Lord, if this is not your will, or if these people like are bringing me further away from you, would you remove that from my life? And so
Oh my goodness, the infamous prayer. Oh my goodness. I it's like it's a special prayer because when you say it, the Lord does it. And I only say it and I only pray it when I fully feel like I have the courage to even do it, because the Lord will take whatever needs to come out of your life away.
I agree. It is a scary prayer. But I felt like in that moment, I definitely needed to. And I felt immediately like a lot of like worldly desires were lifted. Like I just felt like they were removed from like my heart. And then also just some friendships, like I already felt started to like grow distant. And so, yeah, I think like the transition from like college to post grad definitely is like, it's crazy. And even just like after looking back on like experiences and stuff and realizing like how the Lord wants us to live. And I feel like even those moments just from childhood like kind of come back to you and it's like, okay, like I do like I know what is right and I'm kind of living in a way that's not right.
It's literally those Bible verses in the back of your head that are
Yeah.
like literally ingrained on your heart and in your head, that like just like replaying like all the time. Kind of like in my head, they just like call me out. I'm like, yeah, I do know what I should be doing.
Yep. Yeah. And I definitely relate. So there were a lot of moments like I'd be like, out and about and I'm like, okay, like I know what I'm doing is wrong. And like the Lord would like really like highlight a verse to me and I'm like, okay, like it's yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely understand that. Is there a moment where your faith became personal rather than just something you grew up around?
I definitely would say so. My senior year, I had a classmate who had passed away on senior skip day. So it was a, tragic car accident with another classmate. And, it was just a really big deal. There's a group of 60 of us, and 25 of us went to school together from kindergarten. So it was really tight knit. I think I lost my faith like in that moment, because I couldn't, and I still don't understand why. I've looked in the Bible, I prayed, but I don't understand why God would allow a child to die. And the only way that I feel like I have like come to like peace about it is just trusting in his plan. And I feel like that's when my faith got really personal, and that didn't come immediately. I really feel like I've discovered that in post grad. So I feel like that time of that happening senior year to going to college, like it all just like surmounted to this like post grad like sort of realization. And when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask God why, because I still don't know. It says in the Bible, like, you're not going to know everything. There's questions. And so I've just had to be at peace with not knowing.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm so sorry about the loss of someone from your class. I know that's so hard and I could not imagine. I've heard stories of people, but I've never like truly like been close enough to someone where that's happened to and I just know that that would wreck me in so many ways. So, wow, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. It was, I don't even know how to put it into words. It was like, I don't even know. It was crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. So I know you talked about how it was really like in post grad where you felt that your faith was, more strengthened or you were really leaning more into your faith. But what were some other things that you realized helped you in your faith journey or things that really impacted your faith, especially post grad?
One was buying a Bible that I wanted to read. Love, like, not only just like the Bible itself, like the version, but it's beautiful. Like my Bible, I love her. She's beautiful. I think that is like step number one: find a Bible that you want to read and that you want to look at. I had so many versions in childhood. Like they would switch from King James to New International to NIV, like all the things. And so I like just honed in on one that I wanted. And then sincerely, not to like, I know you started Run with Christ, but Run with Christ was the turning point. I turned 25 on May 23rd and I showed up by myself May 24th, just, and
What?
I didn't know anybody. And I truly feel like that is the day that my life changed. Like, I really, like, I feel like my life changed. I had went through a breakup in April, and that was crazy, and that was really difficult. In that relationship, I was like, I want to go to church, like I want to do all these things, and those were just not habits that we had. And that relationship ended, and I was like, this is my year. I'm 25 and I'm like taking control. And I remember talking to Jessica about this podcast that first day. And I met Heidi, who is like one of my best friends now, and she leads a small group that I'm in. And so it was not only going to Run with Christ, but seeing y'all's habits, seeing the way that you, like, everybody truly embodies living like Jesus that I had just really never experienced before, and inspires me daily and holds me accountable.
Wow. Wait, that's so crazy. I didn't realize. Yeah, no, Run with Christ has honestly like impacted my life in so many ways as well. And like, shameless plug, yeah, if you want to come to Run with Christ, we have the best community. I
I
might be biased, but I do feel like just the community at the Atlanta Run with Christ is so different than anything I've ever experienced. And like, truthfully, I feel that everyone that I've ever met there is so inclusive, so sweet, and like there's just some people who have amazing stories and are on fire for the Lord, and it's really encouraged me in a lot of ways. And it's so sweet to hear stories of like how you were impacted by it, because it's truly been something that's like really changed my life since even hearing about it in the first place. So I'm just so glad that that's impacted you as well. And yeah, and I know breakups are hard too. And so like going from that to like join, like literally showing up to a run club by yourself, like props to you, because I mean, I like to think I'm talkative, but I could never show up to something by myself. Or I could, but I would just be like freaking out inside. So yeah,
as
taking that step of
somebody
faith and showing up.
who's not a runner, I will say you can walk, because I am literally, that's everybody's number one thing is I don't like to run. Well, I don't think anybody at Run with Christ has ever seen me run before. So you don't have to run. You can find your place and your people anywhere.
Yeah, no, and that's so true. We have a lot of walkers. I like to walk on those Saturdays too. I feel like it's just a nice chill way to start the Saturday, like going on little hot girl walks.
Sure. And I'm definitely there more for socialization than fitness. And there's all different, reasons people are there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we even do stuff like outside of the Saturdays as well, like having those worship nights, and even just like we had like a s'mores social last weekend. We just do all these random things together, like showing up to church together,
Yeah.
Christ Covenant Young Adults, like different things like that. I think has just been so sweet and has really impacted me in so many ways. Just like having those people to do life with, it just feels so like it's so sweet, and it's like a perfect representation of the church. So
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think it was last week or the week before last, I served at Atlanta Mission with some people from Run with
oh
Christ. And like
yes.
that's something that I wouldn't have even known was an organization. I don't like, think without Run with Christ. And so to have like those people, going, and I don't know, it's just so special.
Yeah, and I love it. I love seeing when you guys do that. I know I think some of those nights like I'm not able to go, but seeing that you guys go out and do that, it's just so sweet. So, I love it. How would you describe your relationship with God now compared to before?
I would describe it as more honest. I feel like I didn't quite fully understand what it meant to have a relationship with Christ and God until Run with Christ and small group and going to church, because I kind of would just go to God when I needed something, or when I was sad, and not to say thank you and not to pray deeply about other people. And actually, I just recently learned like it's okay to tell God that you're mad. And that has entirely changed my relationship. Like, He already knows when you're mad at Him. Like, and it's okay to be frustrated, because we're human and we're going to have feelings. And so I share all my feelings with Him. He already knew them the whole time. And I think it's just literally strengthened our relationship when I'm honest with Him.
So, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit now and talk back about your business. and all of that. You're really stepping out in faith, and there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of questions. It really results in a lot of trust in the Lord. But I'm sure you did have some fears as you were making that decision to start your own business. So what sort of fears did you have when you were stepping into that entrepreneurship?
Well, I had just moved into my apartment, so paying rent was definitely one of them. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I haven't even paid my first or my second month's rent yet. Like I need to pay rent." So that was definitely one of them. Failure, also just I want my parents to be proud of me. They mean a lot to me. I'm an only child and I want them to be proud of me. And I think those were just really heavy on my heart. But some peace was there that is literally like, it's so God profound because I can't even describe it. I was just like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, rent's going to get paid. My parents are going to be excited for whatever I have. And it was actually them. I was like earning money and getting clients. And my dad was like, I think you need an LLC. It was like, it was surreal for them to be like encouraging. Not that they're not. I'm just saying, like, it was surreal for them to like kind of check me and be like, okay, this is something.
Wow, that's so sweet. Yeah, and I know like yeah, you can have those fears, but it's also so sweet when like your parents are like, helping you out or like the Lord gives you that overwhelming amount of peace and that you don't feel like you have to go through any of those fears alone. So,
For
that's
sure.
truly special. So, how were you able to invite God into some of those like big business decisions?
I actually wrote when I like read that question, I literally wrote my Instagram for my business was like a Bible verse because I was like,
Oh.
I didn't really invite God into the boutique. And so I was like, when I do this, like this was built on him. It needs to like remain on him. And so I've even prayed the same prayer of like removing people out of my life. That applies to clients too. And so I just, really do, rely on him and he sustains me. And it's an ebb and a flow when you're, a business owner, and I just praise him through it all.
Yeah, you got to.
Hmm.
That's so sweet. So, what does your faith look like when things are uncertain or things are slow with your business?
The immediate like reaction is worry. Like it's like a sense of anxiety, obviously. But then I honestly check myself and I'm like, you came back from like I have to literally ask myself, what's the worst that would happen? Okay,
Mhm.
somebody gets fired. Well, I already did that. So like what can be worse, God already got me through what I deem as the worst. So, what could happen?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that just shows of like the importance of trust in the Lord, which is something that, I mean, at least for me, I feel like that's something that I've really had to lean on lately. And I think always, but especially in this season of my life with like lots of changes and things, like the most that we can do is just trusting God and like knowing that He's going to provide. And I think that's like relating to what we talked about earlier with when you did like lose your other job and started the business and just saw how the Lord provided so quickly in so many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's something that you would want to tell your younger self? Like what's a lesson that you've learned that you wish you could tell your younger self?
So I had to do some thinking on this one, but when somebody shows who they are, like believe them. I do believe in second chances and I do believe people will change, but I also think that actions speak louder than words. If they're acting a certain way and they're doing all these things, even though they're saying something, believe them and have the courage to check yourself and remove yourself from the situation if you need to.
Yeah, no, that's very important. That's good. So, to the person who's listening to this episode who might feel as if they're behind in life or they feel like they've got all these things that they're wanting to accomplish, but they feel like they haven't been able to see that come into fruition yet, or even just someone who's navigating like dating too, like maybe someone who's single and feeling like they're alone, or someone who's in like a waiting season, what advice or encouragement would you want to give to that person?
So the waiting season is really tough. And it is super uncomfortable, but you grow in uncomfortability. I really struggle in a season of waiting because I feel so isolated in that season. And I really like my eyes just like lock in on all the things that I want and all the people who have them. So I want you to know that I have been there. I am there. and embrace that uncomfortability. And one day, you might be, and you most likely will be on the other end of that, wishing that you had this time back. So try and enjoy it. And that's where I'm at personally.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely words of advice that I need to hear. So thank you for that. I feel like a waiting season, we can always look to other things or other people who have what we want and just be ungrateful for the situation that we're in. So I really like what you said to just like cherish the time that you do have now because there is a lot of blessings that are found in this very moment and a lot of things that we don't want to overlook of ways that the Lord has provided and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's so good. Yeah. How do you stay rooted in your faith when feelings of comparison creep in?
So the saying comparison is the thief of joy has literally always stuck with me. And also just like I'm not even sure if it's scientific, but confirmation bias, like when you are looking for an answer, or you're looking for something, for somebody to agree with you, you're just naturally going to gravitate towards it, kind of just thinking literally that your brain is playing these tricks. And then spiritually, just trying to root yourself back in it. Be honest. When I'm in that season of comparison, like I no longer try and hide that from God. Like I tell him and I'll journal it and say, like, this is what I want. Like just the other night, I was in a really, really bad place of comparison. And I just pleaded to him, and you feel so much better after. So just be honest.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely words of advice that I need to take as well. I feel like it's so easy to compare ourselves to
It's
other
so
people in so many ways or like want what we don't have. And I feel like sometimes those thoughts just creep in when we don't want them to. And it's just so hard to navigate. And it's so easy to like continuously think about those. But it's so important, like what you said, to just give it to God and like plead with Him because He can, help you in those moments when you do feel like you're spiraling or,
a
you
hundred
know,
percent. And also, like, ask yourself, like, if you're jealous of somebody that maybe has this really cool job, befriend them. Like, you don't have to sit there and do nothing. Be their friend. Ask them how they got there, or message them on LinkedIn, or there's so many things that you can do. And that's why I love talking to people, because the minute I talk to them, like, I just opened up their entire network, and like that's why I love talking to people.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, befriend them. I like that a lot. So there's no reason to like be jealous of people who like have what you don't have. So no, I
Because
like
maybe
that.
at one point they were in your position, and you never know.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah. So I wanna just close us off with a few questions. So I mean, you've just been so like faithful to the Lord in so many areas of your life, especially with the business and just being faithful by like, stepping out into faith and trying things like the run club or just going to church and stuff like that. Um, what does obedience to God look like for you right now?
So I had put reading my Bible daily. That is something I struggle with because it doesn't excite me as much as other things do. Obviously, TikTok is like the instant gratification of it all. I have always struggled with reading comprehension, and a lot of the Bible to me is reading comprehension. And so, just finding a way for me to enjoy it. So, making sure I'm reading my Bible daily. And then I'm actually getting baptized on Sunday. Um,
What?
I know.
Hey,
So,
that's so exciting.
that is like really been on my heart for many months. This has been many months in the making, and just an act of true surrender and just a public display of everything that's come about. And I wouldn't have even considered getting baptized without Run with Christ. Like, and just the community that's coming. I literally sent them in pictures of Run with Christ, and it's in my testimony and all the things. So I'm just really grateful.
Wait, that's so exciting. That's awesome. And I'm really excited for you. That's such a big step and it's just such a like exciting moment in your faith to have that like public declaration. That's awesome. What is something that you are grateful for in this season?
I am just really beyond grateful for everybody who's been so supportive, encouraging, and challenged me. I am always like looking to the person ahead of me who is like, you know, further along in their faith. It's, you can sit there and have a moment of like challenging yourself, and like it really inspires me to be better and to, watch what I say and how I live. And I'm just really grateful for all of those examples.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Man, this was so good. And I'm so glad that we got to record this together. I feel like I learned so much about you and just hearing about your life and your faith and everything. That's just so good. And the Lord is working through you. You're such a joy, such a light.
I feel the same way about you. And I want to say, I'm by no means perfect and nothing is, perfect. It is what it seems, but having good people around you is essential. And what you've provided from Run with Christ is like just left such an impact on me. So
It's so sweet to hear that. I mean, thank you. Of course, it's like all the Lord's doing. I'm literally just here, like trying to be obedient to the Lord, making sure everything goes as planned. But like, no, it's totally like the Lord's doing. And I mean, I've been so impacted by that community as well. So, I mean, it's so sweet to hear that like other people are being impacted too. So,
yeah,
we can only thank the Lord for it. So, that's
absolutely.
awesome. Yeah. Well, would you want to close us out in prayer?
Sure. I get nervous sometimes to pray, but I am being more bold. So let's do it.
Yes, you got it. It doesn't need to be like this extravagant prayer, though. I
Okay.
think the same about myself as well, but
All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you so much for allowing this time for me and Jessica to record. I'm just so thankful that Jessica is putting herself out there and sharing her story and other people's stories and everything that she's providing for the community. I hope if you're listening, that you enjoyed and that you have a great day. In your name we pray. Amen.
amen. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Thank
podcast. This was
you.
so awesome. I'm so glad we got to do this.
Me too.
Yeah. And then for everyone else who's listening, thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, please be sure to give the podcast a 5-star rating and follow the Good and Faithful podcast. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes. But yeah, well, Cora, I will see you at Run with Christ, and I hope you have the most fabulous weekend. And I cannot wait to see you soon. And then hopefully I'll see you at another workout class. I signed up for the Wednesday cycle class, so
Wait, yay, I'll be there.
okay, yay! I was gonna do it this last week, but I think I slept in instead. I was a
Fair.
little
So fair.
tired.
It was the wild ones.
Yeah. So, but I'm so excited to see you soon. And thank you so much again for hopping on. I'm so excited to listen back on this. I know it's just going to be so good.
I'm so grateful. And, I want even like you to know personally, like I am by no means like perfection. And I'm just, I don't even know. Like, I'm just so excited to get baptized and to have that, be a part of my story. And it just couldn't have been possible without the people that you've like brought together from Roman Christ.
That's so
It's
sweet. And
so,
that's so awesome to hear. Oh,
yeah.
wow. Yeah. And I'm excited for you. I mean, that's such a big step in your faith. And like,
I
it's,
remember when you were saying that Jackson was getting baptized and like it was all of those little moments that like I wasn't there, but hearing the way that you were so excited for him and that encouraged me. So, keep
wow.
doing everything that you're doing because just the small things, I'm like just they build up and it's really impacted me.
Wow. Wait, that's like so sweet to hear. It's like those moments that you don't even realize like impact other people. So, yeah, wow. Well, I'm
Yeah,
so
and
glad
tell
to hear.
him being bold in his faith, like it just like it kept building in me. I was like, oh my goodness, like these people are doing it and I want to be a part of it and like,
Yeah.
do that.
Wow. Oh, that's so good. The importance of community. I'm gonna tell Jackson after this. So
Yes.
I'm sure he'll be like so happy to hear that. So,
Oh,
yeah. Well, we're so excited for you, and I'm excited for other people to hear this story as well. So, well, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode, and I will see you guys in my next one. All right. Bye, guys.
bye.